AutoDig follows a pattern based on the actual elevation of the bucket as it descends and ascends. You have different marks and different speeds that you can set. You also have offsets that you can put in from what information we're getting from HiPAC, from how far it goes either to the target depth, which is the design, or to the existing survey. So to begin with, when the operator presses the black button on the starboard handle, he can be at any of the levels above the material line. Typically he would be out of the water. So when he first hits the level, you're going to go speed 1, which is now 75%. We're using bucket 3 because it's highlighted. Bucket selections are selected by your setup screen. So whichever bucket you select from the setup screen, these will automatically be highlighted. Right now we only have parameters properly in bucket 3. They all are stored as soon as you change them. Any parameter you enter is stored. You do not need to hit a store number. So you have several marks. You have a mark above, which is -10. That is above the water line. So you will go 75% till you hit 10, till you hit 10 foot above the water line. You can enter a number in the value. The negative value is going to be above the water line. And then it transfers to speed 2. Speed 2, it will transfer, by the way, based on the acceleration and deceleration rate. The higher the number, the faster it'll actually transfer. That's actually the deceleration is how quick it kicks in. It's not the deceleration or acceleration that is built into the drives itself. So this is a ramp. So the higher the number, the faster it'll ramp into the next value. So as it gets 10 foot above, it'll go to 70. Well, we could have changed that number to whatever we want, but 0 to 70, 0 to 100%. So it gets to Mark 2 and it goes through the water, or in Mark 1 it goes through the water to Mark 2 below the water. At Mark 2, which is 10 foot below the water, then we go to speed 3, which is still 75%. Once we get from speed 3, from Mark 2 to Mark 3 is 15 foot below the water. So there's really a 5 foot difference at those two. At Mark 3, you're going to be slowing down 25%, which is speed 4, until you get to your target depth. So you're going to be decelerating till you get to your target depth. Now your target depth is going to be whichever is the higher of these two, the survey grab depth or your target depth offset. So the survey grab depth means you're going to be digging 1 foot into the survey. So HiPAC's telling us where the survey is. We're going to dig 1 foot into the survey. Now, if the survey were at the actual target, you can put a target depth in. This is saying that whichever is the first that we're going to hit as we descend down. The target depth you have at 4 foot below the target right there. So it's obviously going to hit the survey depth first and stop it. Now, keep in mind, when it's told to stop, you get some drift. That drift is taken out by a preact down here. This is a new value added in here, and I got it set at 3.6 feet. So it's really going to take that 3.6 feet and start stopping. You know, it's going to take this number at the survey, add 1 foot into the survey. So we're going to try and dig 1 foot into the survey, but whatever that number is, we're going to take 3.6 feet off of that. So we're going to stop, because that's what I've noticed. We're getting 3.6 feet of drift. And that, with that number in there, we come out pretty consistent, because we're always coming down at the same speed in automatic. And when it tells it to stop, we're getting a drift of 3.6 feet. So that's what these two numbers here are for. Already described the decel accel. The grab fault timer, at this point, once we get down, we stop. We want to make sure we grab within 22 seconds. Otherwise, because we're looking for feedback from the drives to say that the grab is closed. the grab doesn't close, we stop in 22 seconds and start coming up. So once we start coming up, we ascend to Mark 3. So we're going to come up at 50% till we get to Mark 3. All right, which is 15 feet below water line. All right, and then once we ascend to Mark 2, which is just below, is 10 feet below the water line, we're ascending to Mark 2 at 75%. And then we're ascending through the water to Mark 1 at 100%. And so then we stop. Now the operator can take over anytime he wants after the grab is done and it starts coming up. As soon as he moves his joystick, it goes out of auto and he has control. If he's swinging, we don't know that. So he can swing and it stays in auto, but when he moves the joystick, it comes out of auto. The last number down here, the new one, is that's the speed at which the hoist lowers or raises, depending on whether you selected down or you can select raise. So that tells me what to do when to grab. You may want to grab and lower the cable depending on your bucket configuration, or you might want to raise the cable. If you have a level cut, you don't have either one on, and so that'll be ignored. But right here, you enter in what is your bucket offset from open to close. What is your vertical difference from open to close? 3.5 feet. So what happens is we have a value of 8. That is the speed that hoist will lowers. And we're telling it to go down your hoist cable to lower as we're grabbing. And we're telling it right here, the hoist speed when we're grabbing it is 8 on a 0 to 100%. Now it'll stop descending just before it closes. And we know that from the feedback from the drives. So as it's descending, after it finishes a grab, it looks at the difference from high pack and it says, did we actually pay out 3.5 feet? If we didn't, the automation will adjust this value. Now that value right now is actually 8.2 in the PLC. So it adjusts it automatically each dig to make sure that it gives the full amount that you want right there. Of course, we don't really know if the bucket is lowering because we have nothing to tell us that, but we do because the current is all over the place as it's lowering. But in case we do have a little bit of slack cable, after the grab is done and it's closed, the first thing that happens is we start bringing up the holding cable, and as soon as we hit 600 amps, which is pretty much right away if it's on it, so they both literally come up together. But if there is slack, it'll pull the slack out and then it'll hit 600 amps immediately, and then they both start coming up together. So that keeps that code in there keeps the slack from the cable.